Protrusions are features that add material to a solid. In the previous topics, we discussed the feature creation process. Now, let's look at some of the options for protrusions. We're going to focus our attention on the extent options. When you're creating the base feature in the part with a protrusion, there are two extent options available. The default option is called finite extent. This option defines the extrusion with a distance value from the profile. To define the distance, you have three options. Option 1 is to drag the cursor to the approximate location and pick the location in the graphics window. Option 2 is to type in a value in the distance text box and press Enter on the keyboard. After the distance is entered, pick the location to determine the direction of the protrusion. Option 3 is to pick a key point. The key point option can be end point, midpoint, arc center, or tangent point on the solid. The protrusion is then linked to that key point and is modified when the key point moves. The second extent option available is called From to Extent. This option defines the length of the protrusion as the distance between the from surface, or plane, and the to surface, or plane. When creating the base feature, you'll typically use the finite extent option. When additional protrusions are added, there are more options available on the extents step of the ribbon bar. In addition to from to extent and finite extent are through all and through next. The through all option creates the protrusion that extends across the entire part. When this option is activated, there is a small red arrow that displays. This is the direction of the feature, and it can be set to up, down, or both sides of the profile. The through next option extends the protrusion until it collides with the next face on the solid. You will need to set the direction of the protrusion, just like the through all option. With any protrusion, you can use the symmetrical or non-symmetrical option for most of the extent options. If one of the icons are grayed out, that's because it would not be available for the extent you have chosen. Protrusion features have the capability of applying a treatment. There are two different treatment options: drafts and crowns. The draft treatment applies an angle to any face that is perpendicular to the profile plane. This option is great for applying tapers to plastic parts or cast features. The crown treatment applies a radial treatment to all faces that are perpendicular to the profile plane. For cosmetic parts, this provides a softer look to the part and still allows the feature to be cast or molded.